everybody, welcome back to Northernlion Plays The Binding of Isaac Afterbirth. Plus, we just take a deep breath because we don't lose on quarantine, and I'm planning on doing a lot of talking. QA7E, HEG0, and I gotta tell you, I like the start of this run already. 4 damage. Whoa, hey, what about the .03? Is that just like chopped liver to you? Well, I mean, kind of. Over 4 damage is where we want to be there. That's a nice kind of like good point for us to be at. And then an 8 rate of fire. We had 18 on our last run with less damage. So that should tell you roughly how I feel about this. And we do have Ares, so we can just, you know, steamroll these enemies. We have the jar, but it's actually Jar of Flies, which is a beautiful thing. So, offensively, no, that's just bad, but offensively, we got nothing to worry about here. I wouldn't even take that. Why throw caution to the wind this early? Now, defensively, how we looking? 3 HP, great speed, like, there's really essentially nothing at all to complain about here. Okay, now that I got 2 pills, I'll take both of them, alright? How you feel about that? There you go. You happy now? I got friends to the end of paralysis. And a tears downgrade, but that's okay. 1 tears downgrade is not that bad. I learn a lot about why people don't want to take pills in this game every time I take a pill in this game. Because it seems you're just like a pill. Instead of making me better, you're making me ill, dude. That's a song by Pink, who apparently really needs to speak to a doctor. She needs to get a new doctor. I'm not saying there aren't pills where the side effects are perhaps worse than the thing that they were treating. However, to talk about all pills in that sense is just, I mean, it pretty much just doesn't make any sense to me, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Like, you ever take a Tylenol and you're like, oh, I'm experiencing no side effects at all, but I'd much rather just have the headache. It's never happened. Just take a Tylenol, lady. NL, actually, Tylenol is very toxic to the human liver, and, yeah, if you take, like, too many of them, or you take it when you're, you know, drinking, which it says on the bottle not to do, just take, like, 1 Tylenol. You'll be okay. I mean, I probably shouldn't be saying that, but I'm pretty sure you're going to be okay. Let me put it this way. I've Googled this. You know what? I was originally going to laugh because getting your PhD from Google is like the universal way of being like, I don't know what I'm talking about. But if you have good awareness of credible sources and non-credible sources, you can learn a lot on Google. People teaching themselves whole new careers on Google every single day. Hold on, we do want to try to get to an arcade on the next floor, and that's just, you know, that's just a bonus here, assuming that we don't get screwed by any of these. Friends till the end is fine. Question marks don't matter. Luck up is good. That was a good room, actually. Good enough. And I'll tell you, even pregnant women can take Tylenol. And pregnant women aren't allowed to eat soft cheese. So it should really put it into perspective that that's one of... I'm just saying, Pink, if that is your real name, probably not. You gotta talk to somebody about your use of these pharmaceuticals. You know, I think you've got a bad relationship with them. I've Googled a lot of, can pregnant women eat this? Mostly it relates to dairy because of, like, pasteurization and stuff like that, but definitely seafood as well. Can pregnant women drink green tea? I believe the answer to that question is yes. This is just an example of my recent Google search queries. Hold on. Focus for a second. There is an argument to be made that maybe I should not have placed myself so low on HP. We're not going to take enough damage on this boss for it to be relevant. But you never know what might happen on this deal with the devil, so you got, we're going to deal with the angel strategy on that one. Polydactyly. Yo! Now we're talking. Anyway, things are going well. Thank you for asking. It is a Monday over here. I hope you're enjoying your Monday. Everything's A-okay. What did I get up to on the weekend? Well, on Saturdays... Ooh, sure, why not? On Saturday, I did a sponsored stream for Grifflands. Now, I do have to say that I'm sponsored by Clay to be playing Grifflands, or at least I was. So you can't take a word that I say seriously, no matter what. However, Grifflands, that's a great game. No doubt about it. Yes, please? You know what? That'll pay for itself. I really, really respect the sanctity of my day off. If it had not been for a game of Grifflands quality, obviously, again, I was being compensated. I'm not trying to say, like, I did it out of the goodness of my heart. But if it weren't a game with the level of quality of Grifflands, I probably would have said no. But I was like, you know what? It's a great game. I might play a little bit of it today anyway. Don't tell the sponsor. Sure, why not? So it's really like, I will say my day off was not as day offy as I would like. And I'm hoping it doesn't have like a knock-on effect this week, because I got my life like pretty much set where I want it in terms of work-life balance. I am working harder than I should right now, but taking the long-term view that obviously, like, you know, when we have our child, I want to work a lot less, especially for those, you know, that first year maybe, because you can't get that time back. And, you know, I recognize that it's a privilege to even be, you know, having this conversation in the first place. I have the good fortune of being able to, like, choose my own hours and, you know, not maybe have my entire career wither and die as a result of it, because I've got that kind of flexibility built up. But, you know, I was talking about it, and I was like, you know, I'm editing all of my own stuff right now to post on other platforms, and also, like, the monthly not collaborations, but compilations and stuff like that. That stuff, like, is very unlikely for me to be able to do in 6 months or so, even though I enjoy doing it because I'm learning a new skill in the process and saving money by not hiring someone. But, you know, as we get closer to that day, we're going to have to start to have a conversation about, you know, what kind of, like, stuff can fall by the wayside for a bit, and what kind of stuff we want to keep around, you know, forever. But my number one sentiment and piece of, like, reasoning is I would much rather hire an editor than hire a nanny, you know, because you can't get that time back. When it's gone, it's gone. So I don't want to be like, sorry, sweetheart. Dad can't be here for your upbringing. He's too busy editing subtitles onto a funny clip from his Twitch stream. So, you know, we're gonna have to have not you and I, but, like, you know, me and myself are gonna have to have an honest conversation about where that stuff goes in the future. But, you know, I really feel like we have a good attitude about it. A lot of people are like, you know, oh, what are you going to change about, like, your work life when you have the baby? And I'm like, I have no idea. I know it's a lot of work to have a baby and to have a child to begin with. I know that because I don't remember being a baby, but I am told that I was one at one point. And then on top of that, I've been a child. And when I was a kid, I was like, being a kid is no work, or, like, having a kid is no work at all. And then I was like, no, actually, like, it's a lot of work, you know? Financially, and, you know, like, dietarily, and, you know, with the schools and the et ceteras and the all that jazz. You know what I'm talking about. This guy knows what I'm talking about. So I think it would be very idiotic of me to be like, I got it all figured out. All we're going to do is make, you know how we got 7 episodes of One Step from Eden a week? All we're going to do now is have 5. I'll take the weekends off. I think that's a very naive way of looking at it. It may end up being substantially more time than I think it will be. It might end up being a little less. I don't know, but I'm... Hold on. I'm in no matter what. Let me put it that way. It's not like I'm going to be one of those guys who's like, you're telling me, you know, I can't get hammered 3 times a week because of the baby? What about my needs? You know, that's not That's not in my DNA right now. If I had a baby when I was 19, maybe I'd probably not. I mean, I think it would smarten you up pretty quick. I hope, at least, but I've done the smartening up in advance. I did all the required reading over the summer, and now I'm good to go. Take me down here. All right, let's hydrate. But yeah, so I guess that was one roundabout way of being like, hey, my Saturday was not exactly 100% focused on leisure time, but also get used to it. So I did the sponsor stream, and then after that, you know, Kate's been itching to do some gardening, which I think is pretty fair considering, you know, these are in these uncertain times. But you know, we've been locked inside for closing in on like 6 weeks here. Just having the opportunity to have a little sun, even if it's you know just out on your balcony is something. So we got some seeds, some pots, did some gardening, and then I put together this dang barbecue that took like 2.5 hours. And then like we didn't even cook on it that night, but we did cook on it last night. I gotta say, this is nothing like a charcoal barbecue, dude. There's real benefits to propane barbecuing, don't get me wrong. You turn a valve and then press a switch and the thing's working. That's amazing. Charcoal, and you know, I hadn't really used the charcoal barbecue too much, but you gotta like, you stack the charcoal in a pile, and then you hit it with like a little bit of lighter fluid, and then this is where you're gonna be like, I'm a mod of r/charcoal. What you do instead is you create a charcoal chimney and create a little bit of, you take some tinder, i.e. newspaper. Every single one of these articles is like, take a little bit of newspaper and, you know, just use that to start the fire. I'm like, where am I gonna get, all the newspapers I read are on my phone, Grandpa. You want me to toss this in there? Absolutely not. This is a Pixel 3. Now maybe if I still had my Galaxy Note, well, then I wouldn't be needing any help to start the fire. But anyway, remember when those were exploding? You heard of this one, Kevin? Kevin, did you hear about this? Phones these days have been exploding. Something. The iBurn. Anyway, the jokes write themselves, I'm told. Okay, we do this. We're cruising. We're cruising USA and cruising world simultaneously. Then I put together that barbecue. We didn't even have time to use it that night. Anyway, that's done. Then I basically, I had like one of those dad tired moments. You know, here's my impression of my dad, and also from what I can tell from being on the internet for a long time, everybody's dad. Hey dad, are you falling asleep? No, I'm just resting my eyes. And then a second later, and then your mom kind of like pokes you and goes, look at this guy. And you're like, I know, he's sleeping. You know why dad's sleeping? It's not because he's old. It's because he's been working all week. And then also on his day off, he was like, you know what? I don't feel right. I feel guilty taking too much free time. So I'm just gonna, I don't know, drive over my whole lawn with this machine that cuts the grass. You know? He's tired. There's a real earned sleep in most circumstances. I was always like, my dad is working, or my dad is falling asleep whenever we watch a movie. You know why he's falling asleep whenever we watch a movie? Dude's working like 65 hours Monday to Friday. And then on Saturday, he's waking up at like 7 a.m. to put new trim on the baseboards. We start watching a movie at 1 p.m., my man's zonked. Let him sleep. Not to mention just the emotional labor of, you know, basically making every household decision between him and my mom. Not to mention, like, you know, being the major breadwinner in the home. So if he slacks off for like 3 months, it's like everybody here dies. You know, it's a lot of pressure. Let the man snooze a little bit. Okay, so he's gonna miss a little bit of lucky number 11. Big whoop. Okay, I've smelted the left hand. I apologize. Anyway, so that was my Saturday. Yesterday we did a little bit of barbecuing. My wife is pregnant. I don't know if I've mentioned that. I feel like the kid who went on a foreign exchange for like 2 months. Like one of my housemates in university went to Ireland for a semester. And then every Every time a conversation came up, she was like, well, in Ireland, they call a cane a shillelagh. How about that? And everyone's like, yeah, we know. We knew it the second time you brought it up yesterday. This is now the 22nd time you brought it up. Can we... It's not, I got nothing against Ireland, and I'm happy you got, like, some self-actualization from going on this trip. But at the same time, you just chill out a little bit with all the Irish cultural stuff from your one semester abroad. Anyway, but so I'm like that now. I'm like, by the way, my wife's pregnant. But that being said, it is kind of like what's going on in my life right now. And it deservedly so. Like, it, you know, it's a pretty big life-changing event, obviously. But I was like, hey, I'm running to the grocery store. Do you need anything? She's like, yeah, I just need a couple of things. And I was like, I know, apples and oranges. She's like, yeah, apples, oranges. But then also, let's barbecue tonight. So can you get like a couple of potatoes? And then, like, if we're going to do potatoes on the barbecue, you got to have shredded cheese. You got to have green onions. You got to have sour cream. You got to have bacon bits. And I was like, all right, baked potatoes. Understood. Baked potato ingredients. Who doesn't love a baked potato? She's like, also, can you get hot dogs and hot dog buns? And I was like, that's no problem. And then she's like, we have ketchup, but we don't have regular yellow mustard. We only have spicy yellow mustard for your sandwiches. So I need some regular yellow mustard and also some relish, please. And I was like, all right, this trip's getting... This is really supposed to be like a 2-minute trip. Now we're talking... We're getting way up there. And then she was like, I also heard asparagus is really good on the grill. So can you get some asparagus? So long story short, I did get absolutely every single one of those ingredients. And I had a delicious meal last night. Why not? That consisted of a hot dog, a baked potato with all the fixings, and then, like, a few stalks of asparagus. Not the most culinarily unified meal, but at the same time, delicious nonetheless. Here's some things you might not know about a charcoal barbecue. Did you know that to put out a charcoal barbecue, all you do is close all of the oxygen ports on the device and then wait for it to burn out, which is really just one way of saying hope that it burns out? We did. So we waited until the coals cooled down. And then we kind of shoveled the coals into this bucket, and then we smothered the bucket with, like, a little bit of sand. So, you know, I'm not trying to, like, burn down the whole neighborhood here. But I grew up in a family where... And my mom has changed a lot in this regard. Like, she recently bought a pressure cooker, thus invalidating this whole anecdote. But I remember at times as a kid, you know, we didn't eat food that would require a pressure cooker to make. Because my mom was like, we can't buy a pressure cooker or we'll blow up our whole house. You know... When I got the Instant Pot and I started making stuff in the Instant Pot, I was like, this is what she's worried about? It just goes like... I get that there are pressure cooker accidents, but, like, there's everything accidents. You can't base your whole... You can't live your whole life based on devices that idiots manage to injure themselves on. You'd never be able to participate in anything. You're using a knife to cut up garlic or something like that. You know how many people slice themselves up with knives every year? The pressure cooker is the least of my concerns. Anyway, but yeah, we never had a charcoal grill growing up because my parents were like, charcoal? That's uncontrollable. What I'd rather have is an incredible cylinder of compressed propane gas, so if anything goes wrong, we just explode and die instantly. I will say there are benefits to a propane grill. Again, you turn it on, it's good to go. Heats up pretty quick. Charcoal, you gotta, you know, the temperature control is much more of like an alchemical science. It's getting too hot, you starve some of the oxygen. It's getting too cold, you start to fan it like you're, you know, that one dude from season 2 of Survivor who fell in the fire after he hunted the pig with a homemade spear. It's interesting, but the flavor and smell of charcoal it can't be beat. Plus, we've got, like, the added bonus. Like, I smell very masculine right now because, and I don't know if this is up to code, but the ventilation in our, like, our laundry area, I was gonna call it a room, but it ain't a room. Like, you can't step foot in it. You can put your hand in it to put some clothes in the washing machine, but that's about it. But the ventilation for that pulls air in and pushes air out through like this, I don't even know what you call it, but it's like an HVAC intake that is right next to the charcoal. So I had a load of clean clothes that had just been dried when we were barbecuing, and now they picked up like so much of the charcoal barbecue aroma that I'm just walking around smelling like a campfire. I gotta say, I'm here for it. I got nothing against that whatsoever. So that was pretty much, I mean, honestly, it was like my Saturday and my Sunday. It's been, I'm not complaining. It's nice to have work, especially, you know, during the, you know, the coronavirus stuff. In particular, okay, well, I just blew myself up there. And again, don't think this is complaining, but sometimes people have been like, YouTubers have it real easy during the coronavirus stuff because they can still work. That's true. I can still work. That being said, if you look at a graph of like, you know, what you get paid for ad revenue in March looked pretty normal. April was like, March was like, hey, what if we all went skydiving and just were legends? So I really am it was a perfect time, if I'm going to pull the veil back, it was a perfect time for a sponsor, especially with a game as amazing as Griftlands, to come in and be like, hey, would you like to do a little extra work? And I was like, no, yes, nailed it. So that's good. It's a little stress off my shoulders, but at the same time, you know, streamed on Saturday and then did a lot of like domestic productive stuff, and extra long stream on Sunday to fit in the more Griftlands, and a lot of recording on that day as well. So I'm feeling a little, it's less energized than I am on the average Monday, but I'll also say, you know, I feel like some knives get sharper the more you use them. Is that a thing? Is that real? Are there self-sharpening knives? The more you use them, the better they are? That's what I feel like sometimes. Like sometimes I start the day, like a day like today, and I'm like, you know what? Probably going to be a little lower energy today just because I'm a little exhausted. And then like I'm on my second video of the day. I feel really good. I felt like that first video, I brought the heat from a commentary standpoint, and then this video, I mean, we don't really need to be playing top tier Isaac in order to make good things happen here, but I ain't sweating it. Everything's good. I gotta look into that. Google, is there a knife that sharpens as you use it? I feel like that makes no sense from a materials engineering standpoint. How could something get sharper the more you use it? I mean, if you're using it to cut other iron, I suppose. Oh my god. We have a 100% chance, but I guess we're definitely not getting a deal with the angel, right? Because we just saw the deal with the devil. By the way, I will never apologize for taking Epic Fetus in these circumstances. We're at 58 wins in a row. Are you insane? I'm taking this item forever. If this showed up for the next 100 runs, I would take it every single time. I'd also be a complete coward and not even like fish for anything in there. Normally, in most circumstances, I would be like, we might as well at least try to find something. But I'm telling you, it's the new Northern. Without compromising as much entertainment value as possible, I'm just recognizing that I have a little demon inside of me. And the demon, whenever a run gets good, it starts to say, hey, the run's getting too good. Screw it up so people don't get bored. And I think that that is a harmful bit of reasoning that no longer is applicable in 2020. I'm like number 2 in the first Austin Powers movie. Tired of you pushing me around. Okay, we're just going to do things the old-fashioned way, get through as much of this as possible without causing any stress to ourselves. It's a beautiful thing. And you know what? We're very soon to be back at win 60. At least have the opportunity to get to win 60. I was talking about that. I remember talking about it 5 years ago. There's a movie, which is based on a book, I believe, called Because of Win 60, which is actually called Because of Win Dixie, which I believe is about a dog. I don't... I don't watch a lot of dog-based movies these days. I have a feel, you know, I haven't seen... Like, being a young adult is a luxury. That's what we're going to start with on that one. What makes you say something like that? Well, you, as a young adult, you don't get dragged or forced to watch any kids' movies except the ones you want to see. Like, I'll level with you. I heard Trolls World Tour was actually pretty good. I'm never going to go see a movie based on the Trolls or the Smurfs or anything like that. I also heard the Angry Birds movie is pretty good. I'm just going to be honest. I ain't going to see the Angry Birds movie or Rio or the Angry Birds movie 2 starring Jason Sudeikis, you know? I'm not disappointed they exist. They serve a different part of the market that I'm not so interested in. But, you know, when Pixar comes out with an original movie, I'll watch that. We didn't have a choice. Well, once we smelted it, we didn't have a choice here. Let me in. But, you know, I recognize that potentially as a new parent, that's going to change pretty soon. I'm just wondering what movie is going to be for me. I feel like my sister-in-law is like, she has 2 daughters they're very young. And she's like, we've seen Moana like 58 times. And I'm like, man, at least Moana is like good. I don't think any movie is going to be as good on the 58th time as it was on the first one, but like, you know. At least it isn't like I don't even know, at least it isn't Food Fight or something like that. So I'm getting myself prepared. I'm building my own mind palace so that I'm trying to remember every shot from Raging Bull in chronological order. So that when I get sucked into watching, I don't know, Frozen 14, Olaf's Last Stand, in my head I can just be like, it's Robert De Niro in the restaurant, and then it's okay, now we got these beautiful, you know, one continuous shot in the ring. You get what I'm saying. Potentially? Anyway, I hope so. We would have been way better off not fighting Mega Satan. I'm just gonna call that. See, even my brain's still playing tricks on me here. We would have dominated pretty much every room en route to Blue Baby, and then Blue Baby is an enemy that is vulnerable for 100% of the fight. He just stands still for most of it. Whereas Mega Satan, on the other hand, has these incredibly long periods of summoning enemies that need to be taken care of first. So I'm not mad at Mega Satan. I'm mad at myself for getting mind fricked into believing that we should be down here instead of doing what we should have done, which is not do that. I'm also just kind of stunned at how little damage we're doing. So here's what I want you to do, is be smarter. What? Okay. I felt a chill go down my body there. Don't let it get you down. You're just dodging and placing and dodging. Oh, you know what it is? We lost Crown of Light, because this is the first long room we've done in the whole game. And now I'm realizing my damage is not actually that good. As you can tell. What is happening, dude? Thank you, thank you. This is horrendous. On the bright side, he's not summoning any more enemies. Also on the bright side, the occasional 4 damage spider. So, I'm not gonna lie to you. My heart started beating a little bit there. We gotta keep him on the screen. Because only by keeping him on the screen can we know what's happening here. We gotta keep landing the miniature monstros in there. Great dodge. Another great dodge. Good work, me. Not great. I'm feeling the fear. I'm just begging these spiders. Spiders, can you please get up there? Can you even hit him? I mean, my man's looking pretty ragged, don't get me wrong. Classic bougie ratchet. Oh my god. So we didn't die, but we could have found ourselves in a real world of hurt if that had gone on much longer. But for now, thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. That got the heart pumping a little bit. For now, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed it, click the like button. Helps out a great deal. Of course, subscribe if you want to see more in the future. Again, thanks so much for your support. I love to see these episodes. 1,200, 1,300 likes. If you're interested in helping support that, I appreciate it. Thanks so much, and I'll see you next time. And in the comments, see ya. See ya!